Over 550 years ago, the Incas built a city that is unparalleled in world history. Located in the Andean Mountains at an altitude of about 2,350 meters, it is a magnificent city that still takes the breath away of visitors today. Archaeologists and historians continue to track the centuries-old mysteries of Machu Picchu. Findings are shedding light on many aspects of Incan daily life, engineering marvels, and more. In this video, we will follow the footsteps of archaeologists who have been conducting research here for over a century, traveling with them to the sacred peak in the heart of Peru, and witnessing the mysterious history of Machu Picchu. American archaeologist Hiram Bingham was not a specialist in the field. He was more interested in giving theoretical lectures at Yale University than conducting excavation work under the hot sun. He spent most of his time on campus. Nevertheless, his studies on South America and the Incas pushed him to conduct field research starting in 1908. His irresistible drive was fueled by a passionate curiosity. Bingham was searching for the Incas' lost city of Vilcabamba. He began his work like an explorer, climbing the high Andean mountains, embarking on long journeys, along rivers and venturing into dangerous forests, tracing the clues of the lost city. However, it didn't take long for his hopes to fade. By 1911, all he had found were a few ruins he had previously discovered. That was until July 23rd, when he spoke with a farmer named Melchor Arteaga. Arteaga pointed Bingham to the mountains and, through a translator, told him that there were enormous ruins in the area. Arteaga's words gave Bingham the hope he needed to embark on one final challenging journey. The route was dangerous and demanding. Slippery terrain and steep rocks seemed to pose a deadly threat. Sudden rainstorms made things even worse. By the time they reached the peak, Bingham's team and the local guides were drenched. However, the sight they encountered was worth it. The ancient ruins they saw took their breath away. They had been built centuries ago, yet at first glance they clearly bore the marks of a civilized society. When Bingham reached the peak that day, he believed he had found Vilcabamba. However, he had made an even more significant discovery. This was Machu Picchu, which in the Inca language means Old Peak, and it was far more important than the historical Vilcabamba. The Incas built such an impressive city at an altitude of 2,350 meters in the Andes, a place almost reaching the sky, and it remains a mystery why they chose to build it there. An early theory suggests that the city was built for the Inca society's esteemed sun priestesses. According to this theory, the entire structure is a massive monastery. The city sits on a peak surrounded by the sacred Urubamba River, which the Incas revered, and is in close proximity to the sun, which the Incas considered sacred. From this perspective, Machu Picchu is surrounded by numerous spiritual and sacred elements, both from above and below, making it almost a temple. However, new research and archaeological findings show that Machu Picchu is much more than just a religious center. It is surrounded by defensive systems, such as walls, ditches, and towers. From below, it appears to be an invisible ghost city, but from above, it is a massive watchtower overseeing the surrounding land. In this regard, Machu Picchu resembles not a temple, but a grand fortress that utilized both natural and artificial defensive methods. The most widely accepted theory today is that Machu Picchu was built during the reign of Inca Emperor Pachacuti as a separate structure. This period, roughly between 1430 and 1480, marked the peak of Inca power across Peru, with the state's borders reaching Bolivia. Emperor Pachacuti had a vast road network stretching about 24,000 kilometers across South America, making him the political ruler of the region. To crown all his achievements, Pachacuti decided to build a colossal structure, and that structure was Machu Picchu, an awe-inspiring palace stretching toward the heavens, a massive fortress symbolizing the power of the Inca royal family. With its dazzling structures, magnificent temples, terraced farms, and stone houses capable of accommodating hundreds of servants, it was a mysterious city hidden among the clouds. Today, the veil of mystery surrounding Machu Picchu is beginning to lift. Archaeological data is providing remarkable clues about life here. We now know much about life in Machu Picchu. Among its inhabitants were members of the royal family, including the emperor, priests assigned to the temples, high-ranking military, officials, and people specialized in the construction of buildings. However, the majority of the city's population consisted of Yanakunas, servants who worked for the royal family. The Yanakunas lived in single-story, single-room stone houses, which were modest and lacked comfort. They didn't have furniture in their homes but slept on mats and pillows placed on the floor. They used hooks on the walls to hang their daily clothing. Life in Machu Picchu began early in the morning. For the king and nobles, this place was paradise. But for the Yanakunas, the experience was different. They had many tasks to do. After waking up, they would go to the agricultural terraces, the Sun Temple, or the royal residence to start working. All the tasks in Machu Picchu were their responsibility. Additionally, they had built the city itself. During the construction process, about 5,000 Yanakunas were employed. But the population of Machu Picchu remained small. During suitable seasons, the population could reach around 1,000, but with the onset of winter and the return of the royal family to the capital, the number would drop to around 200. Excavations in Machu Picchu are providing clues about the origins of the Yanakunas. Many of their bone structures suggest that they primarily lived on a diet of fish and corn, which would have required them to have lived in coastal regions of the kingdom. This suggests that many of them were brought here as migrants. They weren't the only ones brought in. Many llamas and alpacas were also brought to Machu Picchu from the Puna region. Additionally, among the bone remains, there were dogs, most of which had been sacrificed during funeral rites. Archaeologists believe that the Incas thought dogs guided souls to the afterlife, which is why they were sacrificed and buried with the deceased. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Incas was their engineering skills. They didn't use mortar in construction. Instead, they preferred a method where precisely cut stones were placed next to each other. This construction style not only had aesthetic benefits, but also engineering advantages. Given how seismically unstable Peru is, it is easy to understand how difficult it must have been to build cities that would last for centuries. Lima and Cusco, not far from Machu Picchu, had previously been destroyed by earthquakes. Despite being situated between two fault lines, Machu Picchu seems to have suffered minimal damage in these earthquakes. Historians say that during an earthquake, Inca buildings would almost dance. The stones would move and rise during the tremors, then fall back into place, allowing the structures to remain intact. Current research suggests that without this building method, the sturdy structures seen in Machu Picchu today would have long since collapsed. This building technique continues to astound researchers who study the mysterious past of the Incas, especially considering that the Incas didn't invent the wheel and lacked the ability to use draft animals. However, the only threat to Machu Picchu wasn't earthquakes. Heavy rainstorms, particularly during seasonal transitions, could cause landslides. The water had to be drained quickly. This is why they built drainage channels using leftover stones from the construction to ensure water could flow safely down the slope. The Incas' engineering skills continue to captivate modern researchers. The most dramatic event related to Machu Picchu was its sudden abandonment. The ruins show no signs of battle, leading historians to believe that the Spanish conquests never reached this place. The abandonment of the city is thought to be linked to the Incas' decline and the ongoing civil war. Another theory suggests that a contagious disease, possibly smallpox brought by Europeans, may have broken out among the inhabitants, causing the city to be abandoned. However, all of these are just theories. The reason the Incas suddenly and systematically abandoned Machu Picchu remains a mystery. For nearly 100 years, Machu Picchu hosted Inca aristocrats and hundreds of Yanakunas who served them. Afterward, for the next 350 years, wild vegetation grew over the city's houses and temples. Strong winds blew through the stone blocks, and deep silence fell over the city like a dark shadow. The world changed. The great Inca Empire vanished, but the mysterious city continued to wait, hidden at an altitude of 2,350 meters, until it was rediscovered by Hiram Bingham in the early 20th century. Today, Machu Picchu is a popular destination for archaeologists tracing the history of the Incas, photographers capturing its most striking views, and tourists from all over the world. Though the visitors have changed over the centuries, the magnificent city beneath the clouds still dazzles and takes people's breath away, just as it did in the past.